Well, that's, if I may just butt in there, you've done a wonderful job. With the shoes have obviously made all the difference, and
I think they're actually your shoes, Andrew.
We couldn't have got such a fantastic line of questioning for our lovely couple here. But if I can ask now, we might just ask our lovely couple, the Eglinton parishes, to exit stage left, and we'll bring on two of our most experienced industry operators, and I'll take those shoes back because yes, they are mine, and bring onto stage Nikki Fisher from Ingenia, and we'll ask you just to relax for a minute, because I think what we'll do now is we might get a little bit of formal research and understand in a more formal way what the market is actually telling us in this next generation of residents that frankly none of us understand. And but this chap over here, Jason Lont, has done the work for us. He's run a number of focus groups up and down the East Coast, and this is a great opportunity for us to hear something very recent and current about what the research is telling us about this group of people. So if I could ask Jason to come forward. I think we've got some slides to go with your presentation. And congratulations and thank you to the lovely couple and
Thank you. So I guess the biggest thing is that the revolution, this demographic revolution, it won't be televised. It's happening right now, and that by 2030, 1 in 5 Australians will be aged over 65, so it's quite a significant part of the market. But what's more astounding is that in that same time frame, 1/3 of Australia's wealth will be in that same age cohort. And so from a marketing perspective, we need to have a total focal shift. I guess consumer advertising has always been directed between the 18 to 45-year-old age cohort, typically females. And the spending that's going to be coming in the future is actually going to be shifted to a much older part of the market. Beyond that, we need to focus more on the positive aspects of ageing going forward. So I guess one of the biggest hurdles is that a lot of creatives and advertising agencies have a lot of youth, such as myself, and we tend to think of the senior as the elderly, the frail, those that need healthcare and need constant care. And so overcoming that will be a huge, it's a mindset change that's required from the ground up. If we have a look, I guess for me, the biggest thing is what would Tom want? And I was shocked to, when you look at the age groups that are classified as baby boomers, Tom Cruise fits right in there, and he's a bit loopy, but Bill Gates, Ozzy Osbourne, Stevie Nicks and George Clooney are all in there as well, and by no stretch of the imagination would you consider any of them to be old, frail, in need of care of support. In fact, they're brand ambassadors for the full demographic spread throughout the market still today. So keeping that at the front of mind as we're preparing our material is quite important. And so that takes us to the fact that one size doesn't fit all. And I guess the biggest thing there is that we need to think about our value proposition, and from a retirement village perspective, we need to move away from the property aspect. And you could see in the conversation how long it took to get to the property fundamentals. So the first thing is getting them, I guess, engaged with the product that's being offered. And it's not about the bricks and the mortar, because from a purely pragmatic investment perspective, if you're looking at a traditional DMF structure where you're looking to cough up 30% of your capital growth when you come to sell, not to mention the ongoing maintenance fees, it doesn't stack up, and you are competing against a general downsizing shift. So you need to move people away from that as quickly as possible and get them engaged with the service offering, and I guess redefining care and making care a topic that we can talk about openly. And so I like to think of it as support. And support for a baby boomer isn't the healthcare support and the government intervention support. It's actually freeing them up to enjoy their lives, I guess the last 15 to 20 quality years of life that they have. So it might be having optional kind of ironing offerings, housekeeping models, the opportunity to get away from doing their own shopping. Why would you spend time doing that, getting stuck in traffic, when that's something that you can tack on and add to people? So I guess it's looking at that. And when we look at that from a branding perspective, I guess there's two stages, and the first stage is about getting people in the door. And so I kind of would suggest to people to keep your overall property or asset level branding as generic as possible to get people in the door, so that they don't have preconceptions about what may or may not fit with their wants and desires, and then ask questions and tease out what they actually are looking for, how they see the next 10 or 15 years, and relying on a skilled sales team and a well-trained sales team in order to then, I guess, position the products that you have on offer to fit their needs. So, yeah, being able to tailor, I guess, the offering to each individual person is going to be more and more important as the baby boomers move to prevalence. So now we move to some formal research, and I guess this is from a South Australian active ageing cluster survey that was conducted last year, so it's quite current with a good sample base. So if we have a look at the key drivers up on the screen, 90% own or are paying off their own homes. It shouldn't be too surprising, and these are all baby boomers, so born between 1946 and 1962. 80% of country men still live with their spouse or partner, whereas 56% of metro women are now living alone, and 90% express positive views about the area in which they're living. So if we think back to what Brian spoke about in the first or the second speech today, the fringe development, although it's an easy choice, it's a layup because the ground costs are lower. You're actually ostracising a lot of the market by forcing people to shift. And another big thing that came out of our study has been the attitude towards retirement isn't what it used to be. So I guess whilst people want to decrease the amount that they're going to work going forward, the actual full retirement isn't on the spectrum. The baby boomer wants to keep their mind active. They're open to working part-time or consulting or doing volunteer work, and so properties and assets that are closer to employment nodes or maintain avenues to keep their mind active will prosper going forward, and that's definitely a point that should be pushed. There we go. It shouldn't be surprising that, given that Steve Jobs has been used as an example of the baby boomers and Bill Gates, the baby boomers very tech savvy. So there's only 16% say that they never use the internet, 75% use it regularly, 95% have it at home, and 20% access it portably. And I think that from a marketing perspective, it's still something that we haven't embraced wholeheartedly. So we still have a strong tie to print media as an advertising mechanism. And I don't think that when we look at the budgets that are allocated between the various media, that the internet is getting a fair enough share of the pie, and it's just a historical kind of habit that we have to allocate big money towards print media, radio and television, where the internet is something that people can access all the time, and it's something that the baby boomer, compared to previous seniors coming into the market, are a lot more open to engagement through. Just skip one. So this is the health and care aspect, and I guess it comes back to what Jackie said before about she's already providing some care to her parents and doesn't want to be a burden to her family. And so having that modular offering, something that you can push through, I just realised I wasn't speaking into the megaphone, and so having something that you can push through, a modular offering, something that you can dial up and offer to the baby boomer as they require support, is going to lead to a more successful sales and marketing campaign.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Jason.